Now, let's talk about The Voice. So we've got, so Julian Lisa was on Sky earlier this morning. There's seems to be this little schism opening up, James, around the legalities. So the Solicitor General has said, the words that Anthony Albanese wants to put forward, yada, yada, yada. They're kind of dancing around this.
Well, yeah, this is important because, remember the Solicitor General, and we know from that amazing car crash interview that Anthony Albanese had with Ben Fordham a couple of months ago, that actually they didn't take advice from the Solicitor General on the legalities and constitutional implications of The Voice. So that's the first thing. The second thing that is fascinating now is that you see all of these commentators coming out in the weekend papers this week saying, oh gosh, and these are these lefty commentators. They're all saying, oh gosh, it's actually Albo who is actually bringing down The Voice, which is something that we've been saying, for weeks and months here, that his inability to sell it is a huge problem. But the third thing that's most interesting is now there's a fight between, and the government now realizes that this whole idea that The Voice would be able to make representations to the executive, i.e. to the Prime Minister and Cabinet, which is a huge, huge step. Well, that they tried to walk that back and say, no, maybe we don't need that, because they realize that's not going to get it over the line. And all these indigenous groups said, no, you got to keep that in. We want this as strong as possible. So the whole thing is collapsing under its own weight.
Which is exactly what happened in the Republican debate in 1999, because those proposing these changes to the referendum don't think it through. They're all lovies who go, wouldn't it be nice, wouldn't it be nice, blah, blah, blah. They don't think through the detail, they don't think through the ramifications. And when you point out the ramifications, that's a slippery slope argument, you can't say that. Rubbish. This thing is coming undone. It's unravelling, Rita, as you've said right from the word.
Well, yes, but I think some of those people do know how it's going to work, do know the power it will have, the potential for lawfare, the potential to have all sorts of unintended consequences that we don't want. But they want those consequences.
Yes, that's right.
Most of Australia doesn't,
Lydia
but they do.
wants a lot more than those consequences.
Absolutely. And they're getting desperate because they're coming out with the most simplistic, asinine arguments. If you don't support this, you're racist. And even people you would expect to be a little bit smarter and a little bit more measured, like leading QCs or KCs, SCs.
Yes, KCs,
To make this suggestion that if you ask questions about The Voice, if you point out some of the holes in what we already know,
you're a racist,
then you're a racist. And then also this comparison with, have you ever heard the Business Council of Australia being denounced as an unfairly special group?
They're not in the Constitution.
That's right.
It's not enshrined in the Constitution. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Some of these analogies are so asinine that you can only laugh. But this is all they've got. This is all they've got is to attack
it's interesting
people as
because
racists for not supporting it.
At this stage in the debate, it's the legal fraternity who are tearing themselves apart. There's a minimalist kind of model, which is being proposed by, among others, Louise Clegg, and that's what Brett Walker was responding to there. But as Rita says, this idea that The Voice is somehow, it's no different to the Business Council, the mining lobby group, or any of these other groups. As Rita says, they are not in the Constitution.
And we already have those.
And they already have that. And I will be talking shortly in my editorial about one such group that we already have. We have a multi-billion-dollar organisation that already exists, that you and I are paying for to do the job that they tell us The Voice is going to do. I'll be talking about that in my editorial,
Rowan, just one more point on that. Sorry. The other key thing that people need to remember about this whole Voice to Parliament is that unlike every other constitutional referendum that has ever come down the pike, it does not need a constitutional referendum to get there. So we are going through this incredible divisive rigmarole for something that, Parliament could negotiate and legislate next week or the week after when they're back in session. This is just a complete nonsense, and this is why people need to be so suspicious about it, because if you can do it this way, why not just do it? And now we're using a bazooka to kill a fly.
And we laugh about, we often refer to the brilliant Aussie film The Castle, where it all boiled down to, as a joke, let me remind you, as a joke, the idea that the High Court would decide things on the vibe of it. But what Rita just showed you there, the Brett Walker, who is on the High Court, his basic accusing people who don't support The Voice in any way whatsoever as being racist. Sorry, that's what we've come to in this country, that you question a legal argument and you are racist. That's the vibe in reverse. That shows how far the High Court certainly has been compromised by woke thinking.